There's a guy who just made a video recently about how it feels like time is just going by faster and faster. And I thought, I've got to talk about that too, because I feel the same way, and it's really weird. But it feels like in the last 5 years or so, we had the pandemic and all of the stuff that happened, and it seems like life kind of just started going by faster. And at the same time, it felt kind of like being in a bubble, kind of like being in stasis, kind of like time just stopped passing at the usual rate of speed and things just started going faster and faster. And all the time, I hear other people saying similar things. I hear people talking about how it feels like it's crazy that the morning went by so quick and it's already almost time to go home, and the afternoon has passed us by, and another week has passed us by, and another month has passed by, and 6 months go by, and you say, my goodness, I thought it was only a month ago when that happened, but it was almost a year ago. You know, I think about the release of Cities Skylines 2. That new game came out. I started playing it. I got a new computer for it. And you know what? Like now, that's almost 2 years ago that happened. And I've since gotten a second new computer to keep up with the technology, because times keep on evolving and changing, and what was a new thing that was exciting is now an old thing that is 2 years ago. And you know, there's so many things like that. It just seems all the time like there's always this rushing mighty river of time going by, and you look back and it feels like it used to be a calm stream, like you just knew about how fast it would feel for time to go by. And there was a sense of time passing, but it didn't feel like it was rushing by in this torrential, manic, crazy way. But now it feels like time goes by so fast. And I think about how some of that is because of technology, right? Like it's just, we're always on our phones. We're always connected to something. We're always stuck in some kind of a rat race. And we're so distracted that we never have any time or space for what we would describe as boredom. Boredom is considered to be this evil thing that shouldn't be part of our life. Everything is supposed to be exciting, endless entertainment. That used to be the theme of the ads for Comcast back in the day. And yet, it's like being asleep. When you go to sleep at night, you're not conscious. At least for the greater part, you're not conscious. And so the night goes by rapidly, as if it were the blink of an eye. And then you wake up and it's morning, and you can't really say where the time went because you were sleeping. But what if everyone is just maybe not completely unconscious, just significantly less conscious, less aware? Then wouldn't that lead to a cumulative sense in all of our perceptions that time is going by faster relative to our position? I think it would. If we could learn how to be more mindful and disconnect a little bit more, I think that would help us a lot with getting some of our time back. And there's also something kind of on my mind that feels like it's more than that, you know? Like, it's not just that we are distracted. That maybe there is something on a more spiritual level that's happening in the world. Forces at work, moving around us mysteriously, that impact the way our perception evolves. You know, we think time is like this force that's a rushing river, and it's pouring past all of the obstacles in its path. Imagine you're a stick standing up in the stream, and the stream is rushing by you. There's water rushing all around you, and you're the stationary object. That's how we think of time. We think of it as being like a river, right? But what if that's not how it really is? I had this epiphany that time isn't like a river. Time is like a movie reel. A movie reel is a magnetic tape with a lot of still images on it. And if you view those images in rapid succession, you get a motion picture. If you look at them one at a time, slowly, or while the reel isn't moving, then you would see a lot of still pictures, each one being slightly different from the last. The faster the reel goes, the less able you are to see the individual stills. And then you start to see what appears to be motion, a moving picture. And eventually, if the speed keeps getting faster, all you really see is a blur. And the slides are going to be going by so quickly that you won't really have time to even grasp what you're seeing. But again, the blur is just your inability to process the information as it goes by where you are. It's not that the slides are blurred. It's not that the picture is blurred. It's just that your perception is blurred because of information overload. I think that's kind of what's happening in the world. There's so much information overload. There's so much entertainment. There's so much obligation. There's so many things that keep us from being able to be mindful, that keep us from being able to be free. And there's this famous scene in The Matrix where the guy is sitting there and he says, you have a choice. You can take the red pill or the blue pill. And if you take the blue pill, then you'll go back to everyday life in the Matrix and you won't know the difference. Or if you take the red pill, then you're going to know the truth. But the truth isn't necessarily going to be what you want it to be. And I think about this journey that I've been on to, go through things like religious experiences. I used to be religious. And, I was watching a part of a sermon at a church on YouTube, and I was starting to enjoy it. But I was thinking to myself, my goodness, it would be so nice to believe. It'd be so nice if I could have the luxury of going into a mega church and sitting down in there and truly believing that there's this path to heaven that's just super clear and simple and biblical. But I don't have that luxury because I have to have an open mind. So there's all these people that believe. They believe in stuff that gives them hope. But I have to believe in what I truly in my heart feel is true. And so I've fallen in love with the beauty of faith and the things that religion adds to the conversation of contemplation and meditation and philosophy. But I also know that it's really just a fiction. It's something that we make up because maybe it helps us superficially, but I can't in good conscience believe it. Just like Santa Claus. I love Santa Claus, but I also know as an adult, Santa Claus doesn't come down the chimney for every kid on Christmas. That's just the truth. Doesn't mean Santa's not real in a way. Doesn't mean we can't love Santa Claus, but I can't believe in it the way a child would, right? And then there's all of the other stuff people do to distract themselves, to busy themselves, the career progression, the measuring up, the narcissism, the Instagram posts, the Facebook posts, the things folks do to try to measure up and compete and dive headfirst into the rat race. And, you know, that's not me either. I know we're spirits, not animals, and there's something more to life than just the rat race. So I kind of have to let that go too. Like, materialism is not the path to finding meaning. It's just another fairy tale we like to believe. And people will let you down. Not that all people are bad. That's not true. There's good people too. But people are imperfect, and so you can't put your faith in people because people aren't God either. And when you let go of all of the stuff that has distracted you, the stuff that has given you a sense of false meaning, of purpose without purpose, the things that have taken up your time and the conventions that have made you feel like you can't really walk away. It's just pretty crazy. When you let go of all of that stuff, how much empty space it opens up for contemplation and for philosophy and for freedom of thought. But it's also terrifying because when you realize that you don't have to be bound by these things, then you kind of open your eyes and you come out into the sunlight and you realize there's a whole world out there. And maybe you don't know what to do with it. And maybe you don't want to face life alone. But you also look around and you realize that most people, in one way or another, are going through life blue-pilled. They're believing the comforting lies. They're consoling themselves with the long-held beliefs that they don't want to give up. And so even if you find people who you appreciate, you can't really have a true communion of the soul with them because they're believing comforting lies instead of uncertain, troubling truths. I think there's a lot of things that take up our time and distract us and make it very easy for days to turn into weeks, to turn into months and years. And there's that saying I've always loved, which just hits pretty hard. Life is filled with long days and short decades. Now, I don't know if there's something metaphysical that's going on in the world that makes time just seem like it's going faster. I do think there's something below the surface, something weird that has to do with time and space. I think it has something to do, like I was saying, with the fact that time is more like a movie reel and less like a river. And I think it also has something to do with the fact that we are creatures of light, that everything is light. Everything exists on a wavelength. There's the vibrations, which determine the rigidity and the firmness of every object that exists. Fast-moving particles create firm surfaces like metal or stone. And different vibrations create more porous objects like water or something softer. Then there's the spectrum of things that we can harness that are not able to be felt or seen, like radio waves. Even though you can't feel or see them, you can hear them if you have a radio. Then there's a spectrum of things we cannot feel but we can see. The spectrum of visible light. And there's the spectrum of sound, what we can hear but we cannot see. And yet all of it exists as some variation of the same singular system. We're essentially just light. And everything that ever has been imagined, everything that ever has been, everything that is or ever will be, every possible outcome, I think it all exists in a singularity. A great wheel of time, which is basically like the greatest movie reel ever created. And even though we think that the universe revolves around us, sometimes it doesn't. We're just passive observers of a story that's already been written and imprinted. In the essence of the cosmos. We are a way, as Carl Sagan said, for the universe to know itself. And yet that does not necessarily answer the question that might be weighing on our minds, and that is, how do we react to that feeling that we're not masters of our own time? How do we react to that feeling of running out of time? What is the answer? And I think some of it is distraction. Cut out the distractions. Some of it is convention. Cut out all of the things that you're expected to believe and expected to do and expected to be part of. It's been said that the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. It's also true that if you believe a lie long enough, believing the truth, acknowledging the truth, can ruin you. That's why it's important to be a person with a loose hold on life, willing to walk away from things so that you can be free, even if you don't have a lot to show for it. But when we feel like we're stuck in a stasis, when we feel like we're sort of caught in a loop of perpetual Groundhog Day, I think the trick, the solution, the life hack is that you've got to call the universe's bluff. You've got to say, you know what? I am not going to do the same thing that I have done every single day. I'm not going to do all the things that people have expected me to do. I'm not going to define all of my tomorrows by yesterday's habits. I'm going to embrace the call of the wild, the unknown. I'm going to listen to that yearning that has been there whispering for so long, trying to tell me what is right for me and what is not. And I'm going to make the risky move, the frightening one, the thing that's outside my comfort zone. I'm going to go on an adventure. See, we're so busy trying to be safe, trying to keep the status quo unchanged. We never have the guts to go on a true adventure. We never are willing to risk anything. And so it's easy to fall into that trap of scrolling through social media, being appeased by your fake friends, convincing yourself you're not alone when really you feel alone, convincing yourself of all the reasons why you like your job, even though, if you're honest, it feels manipulative and maybe a little bit like a dead end. Convincing yourself that life is good, even though some part of you feels like you should do something new so that you can grow. You see, that's dampening consciousness, because it's like putting a plant into a small pot that constricts its roots. It can't grow. And so it just exists. Maybe it's safer inside the pot because it's on the windowsill inside your kitchen and it's not going to be eaten by deer or rabbits outside. But it's not really living the life it was meant to live. It's not really being what it was meant to be. Don't be afraid to buck against convention, to walk away from all of the distractions, the things that just don't matter, the things that are designed to make you just stay in a perpetual loop of repetition, watching the news and seeing what some politician has to say and complaining about your job and engaging in the water cooler banter and going through the same tired routine again and again and again. You know, I was thinking about how important it is to have a spirit of stewardship. In life, when we are young, we have a duty to be people who honor those who are old, to cherish them and serve. And when we are older, we have a duty to be stewards of those who are young, to serve them and guide them when they seek guidance, and to have faith in them that they will find their ways, and to be grateful for the legacy that we are part of in any station of our life. And in this world, there's so much narcissism, there's so much selfishness, there's so much ego. It's important to remember, no matter what your perspective on life is, what really matters is stewardship. It's being able to know what it is you're doing with your time, to know why you're doing it, to do things that bring joy and value into your life, or things which help to bring value into other people's lives. We have a short amount of time, whether it seems like time is going by quickly or not. We're here for just a short period of time. That's just the truth. But when we're part of something greater than ourselves, that's okay. Because even when our turn is over, we're part of something greater than ourselves. We're part of a temple that is not made with hands, that's eternal in the heavens. So, stop being stuck in your tired routine. Don't be afraid to walk away from things. Because sometimes, even if it's scary, even if it's risky, it's better to grow than it is to just stay in the same place for all of the remaining days of your life. You can't have a great adventure if you don't ever leave the tutorial zone. I think a lot of us wind up getting recruited for something, sucked into something. And we're so busy living the life that has been thrust upon us that we never get around to finding a life of our own. As always, wherever you find yourself, good luck on your adventure. Till next time, thanks so much for watching.